Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Grandpa Mark's Hobbies and update number 1 on MPC's 76 Chevy Caprice. Uh, it says it's a 3-in-1 kit, but that's because I don't know. Let me get the guys out of the way. I've been a busy guy down here trying to get this all ready for our next video. So I wanted to show you what we got going on before I get into that one. Hood's starting to look good underneath. This is a mixed color of Tamiya's blue and Tamiya's chrome silver. It's 1 pipette of chrome silver to 2 pipettes of Tamiya's blue, mixed real good and sprayed on with a 0.3 millimeter Mobius airbrush. Pete, I think it at 21 psi, but it painted really nice. I haven't polished this or anything or clear coated it yet because I'm going to do the clear coating all at the end, and to be honest with you, it doesn't really need polished. But I'm going to move the body out of the way first, and I want to talk about everything else, and then we'll get into this body and what's going on here. The bottom, I painted the same color as the body, hated it, went back and painted it with my acrylic black, just the cheap store-bought black, and then painted the exhaust and the gas tank flat aluminum. The catalytic converter, I'm going to come back. I think I want to paint that with the titanium silver, just to give it something different. So it's not just a, black and silver. I have not done the frame rails yet with the quick shine. That's why everything is just flat. I will do that in the very near future, probably tomorrow. But I have to let this dry pretty good before I do that. And it's just been, I've been jumping from one part to another, trying to get everything squared away. So I'm ready to do what I want to do on the body. This is a very low parts count kit, but it really is going to look pretty dang nice when I'm done. I forgot. I just remembered right now. I painted all this up. Oh my gosh, that's stuck on there. How about all right, never mind. But I forgot to drill them out. So when I finally figure out how this thing glued itself in like that, there we go. It pinned in right here on these. I will drill these out. I just straight up forgot until just now. But what I will do is I'll come back. I'll quick shine all the frame and the front suspension. We'll highlight the brake lines. I didn't see any fuel lines or anything, just the emergency brake lines coming back. And I'm not going to go crazy on the detailing with this kit. I'm going to do that. What's with the kit is going to stay with the kit, and the only thing extra I'm going to add is spark plug wires and an aftermarket distributor. That's it. The rest of this thing is just going to be quick, fast, and in a hurry. This is just a filler until we get to our July build, which is, man, it's the 28th right now, so this isn't going to get done before July 1st. But I wanted to show you, everybody makes fun of these MPG kits, but I'm pretty impressed with this one so far. The interior, I painted light blue. This is going to be a carbon copy of my father's 76 Caprice Classic. That it's really the first car that he had that I really liked. He had a bunch of wagons and things like that, and I was pretty young. I mean, in 76, I was 13, and that's just about the time I really started to look at cars, and this was he had a good car, and he had it for a long time. But it was the light blue interior with the metallic blue body and a Landau roof, the split Landau roof. So I mixed, like I said, I mixed the body color. I mixed this. This is like 75% white and a little bit of flat blue mixed in it. It'd be 25% flat blue, and it's not that much. There's not that much. This is probably 90% white and 10% of the flat blue. And that flat blue is, watch, I'll grab the wrong one. No, I did. That flat blue XF8, I think this is the first time I've used this on a car, but it's flat blue. But it looks good. It's the same color pretty much as their X4, I think it is. Yeah, the X4. It's pretty close to that. Colors or caps match the color pretty much, sort of, kind of, but it dries super flat. And with the flat white that I mixed it with, you can see it is flat. I wanted it flat because I wanted the carpet to be flat. The rest of this is going to all get hit with quick shine, and I don't even think, the way this is looking, I don't even think that I'm going to hit it with the gray panel liner afterwards. We'll see. It may be black panel liner or whatever, just to darken it up just a smidge. But it's, man, from what I remember, this is pretty stinking close to the color. The door panels are molded in, so you have to shoot the gap going this way. And I couldn't remember if this piece here was chrome going over there or not. So I just left it the blue. I didn't worry about the pin marks because the seats are going to pretty much hide everything once it's in there with the dash. But what I did is I painted this with dark blue first. Boom, the whole thing. The X4. Or, I'm sorry, the XF8. I painted the whole thing with that first, and then I came back and I painted the seats and the door cards with the Tamiya mix. And you can see this is a little bit different color than that just because of it worked. But man, that I used a 0.2 millimeter Mobius airbrush, and I didn't mask anything because, like I said, this is a quick build. I'm kind of in a hurry to get through it, but I did want to do the vinyl roof. But that coming down along the edges here with that 0.2 millimeter, man, did it cut from the dark blue to the lighter blue. It cut a line like a pencil. So if you want a detail brush, airbrush, the 0.2 millimeter Mobius is the way to go. And then this whole inside here was dark blue, was the XF blue. And then I took that 0.2 and I came way out this way and just kind of did some circles and X and O's and played tic-tac-toe in there and lightened it up just a little bit. And I'm happy with that. I'm still going to come in with some pastels. Sorry, my brain went, nope. I'm going to come in with some pastels and put them in there. Just so I have a little bit more difference between the carpet and the seats. I remember the carpet being darker, but it wasn't a dark blue. So what I get is what I get, because like I said, with looking through those windows, this is the color that he had. It really is. And it took me a while. I couldn't find it online or anything. But everybody kind of makes fun of MPC or MPC or MPG. MPC, I'm sorry. Wow. I don't use the kits that often. But look at the detail molded in this dash. That's all hand painted so far. I am going to use the decal that goes in for the gauges, but everything else I just hand painted, and man, I'm telling you, it pops. It really does. It looks great. So I'm gonna leave it go. I'll put in the gauge decal. I'll let that dry overnight. I'll come back. I've been using this UV resin and a toothpick And I put that over the top of it, and then I have a UV light that you push the button, and it runs for a minute and shuts itself off. And when it shuts off, the UV's done, and it gives me a better thickness than what my Mod Podge will do for me. I still love my Mod Podge, but this is better for doing the gauges. And also, I did my lenses with it too last night. And what I did is I just put the Mod Podge in there and kind of got it flat, put it under the light. 1 minute later, dry. Looks good. I'm not lighting these things, but I think if I would have drilled the holes out and lit them, put the LEDs in there and then put the UV resin over the top, that LED would have lit the whole inside because it would have lit all the resin. But I don't know that. But I think that looks a lot better than just trying to mess around with getting that chrome looking good and trying to make it look like a lens. So I just build it up a little bit, and I think it looks good. I really do. So there's that. Firewall. Yeah. Can you say detail? I'll be messing around with this tomorrow. It's not dry enough today to screw around with. Disappointed as heck with the brakes, but what are you going to do? But the brake booster line is put in, and it's for some reason run all the way over here instead of just in the back and disappeared. And the brake lines were dropped down, so I kind of painted them in. I'll come back and touch those up. Heater lines are in, so I'll hit them. I'll hit a bunch of this stuff with the rubber black, just to kind of highlight things. And we'll come in here where the all the wires come in and hit that with some pencil lines and things like that. The radiator is hideously poor. They got all these wires running in here. For the starter solenoid, the battery will go right there. But the radiator that's it. So that's kind of disappointing. But what are you going to do? It's a very low part count kit, and it's a pretty cheap kit too, to be honest with you. The chrome, other than than doing the light lenses, I hit the grill work with my thick panel liner. Remember, I have an old bottle of panel liner I use, and I hit it with that just to fill it in, and it did a really good job. Then I came in with the clear orange, and I clear oranged the turn signals. Not sure if they were clear orange, but it really needed something. So I did that. Again, I'm not going for being perfect with this car. I'm just going for the look of my dad's car. My radiator hose, I kind of wasn't thinking, and I painted it all flat aluminum, thinking it was my crossover for my exhaust, because this has a crossover from right to left going on there. The engine, this is a nicely detailed engine. The transmission looks really good. The intake looks great. I panel lined it after I painted it the red. It got a little darker than I wanted, but I'm okay with that. I drilled it out for plugs. Like I said, I'm going to use an aftermarket distributor cap in the back, just to make things look a little bit better. And I'm not sure. Well, yeah, I am sure, because it doesn't really even have one. This just kind of drops in. It doesn't even have the gooseneck for the thermostat on there. So I was thinking of painting that gooseneck red too, but it's not even there. I still got to paint my oil filter, the Fram orange. These were chromed. I threw them in purple power and took the chrome off the oil pan and both valve covers. And for some reason, the water pump was chromed. The fan blade was chromed. So all those got stripped. This is my dad's engine. It it was a big block 350. I think it was a 350 in that thing. It had way more power than it should have. It was a good running car. I didn't really get to drive it that much, but my brother TJ got to take it out for a few times, and he can probably put in the comments of what he thought the power was on this thing. The steering wheel, I painted it the light blue, the whole thing, and then I took clear blue and did the steering wheel on it, the grip part. I for some reason remember that the outer ring was darker than the rest of it, and I do remember the horn part having that split chrome in there, and this thing has it. And I think it came out great. There was just enough lift in the mold for me to be able to hand paint all that. And all this so far is hand painted that I've showed you. Like I said, the dash, everything in there was hand painted. I even did the green and then black for the knobs. But I like that clear green for the turn signals and for the what do you call it? The radiator. Jeez. But now, I almost forgot. Before now, these hubcaps, my dad's, I could remember, were very bright chrome. They really jumped out at you. They were black around here. I've seen some of these that were blue in the center. My dad's was not. His was all the chrome like this. And then his had the little Caprice in the center was like a Caprice gold on there. So what I'm going to do is once I get the tires built, I'm going to take a gel pen and do the little emblems. I'll use that Tamiya's paint pen for that, and then the rear bumper. But I'm everything. It's pretty cool that I'm remembering everything and how fun this was to do. The body. This is going to be a quick update, but I want to do this before I get into the mess I'm going to get into tomorrow or Monday. I'm not sure what's going on tomorrow. I might not paint anything. The body got painted with the metallic blue. I did bare metal foil on this, and I don't know why, but I struggled with that last night. So I didn't do the bottom part. I'll come back and I'll do the bottom part. The skirt and the front, I painted by hand. The doors, I painted by hand, and the front window. And I think that came out pretty darn good. Same with the latches and everything. And I wanted to get all this done. The tail lights go in there. Those are a little bit big. I know it wasn't like that, but I don't know. It'll look good when I get the red on there. I got the red over here. Because they give you a big hunk. I'll even cut this off. We'll put it in and we'll look at it together the first time. I love these. I want to do another These Are My Tools video pretty soon. Just because it's been a while and I'm using a little bit different stuff here. All right. I was going to do this on camera, but maybe I'll pause and bring you back. All right. Finally got it in. That looks pretty good in there. I do need to paint the back of this red chrome. This thing is so stinking tight in there. I will paint the back of this red or this chrome just to brighten this up a little bit so it does shine through because it is so far back in there. But it's looking good. It really is. But now, for this roof, I have some evergreen that I can't even pick up. It's so small. Let me grab my tweezers here. This came in a mixed bag of evergreen. It's thin, man. This is real thin stuff. But what I did with this is I used this to do the trim piece across the top, down the body line, and up and around, and tucked it back into here. This trim piece that's on here that I put on, it split the window in between the two, favoring the front a little tiny bit. And I think I got that where it's favoring the front, and it just came across the roof and then straight back underneath the chrome. For some reason, they put a little tiny bit in there. Thanks, guys, because that's going to be a pain in the butt to get the tape in. But then it just kind of rounded up and tied into the chrome around the back. So there's no vinyl on the trunk bottom. It comes up around and around the windows this way. So what I did with this is I took this piece and I held it in place where I needed it to be and pulled it over the sides with a little tiny piece of tape on either side. And I taped it to where that was held down against the white. This is way before I even painted. I sanded everything and got it on there. And then I took my extra thin glue, and in the back side here, I touched it right there and right there, way away from the tape. Because as soon as I hit that, it went phew, and it took off and came down, and this one took off and came that way, and it tied together in the back. And I wanted to do it in the back because I didn't want anything to show up through the front here. So this is just all done that way. I got this piece in, and that tape was way down here when I did that, and came all the way up across and taped it way down here. So this is one piece, and then I did the same thing. I ran this piece up, and it was taped up around the window here on the frame, and I came all the way back to about here and taped it in. And then I glued this spot, and I glued right about here, and it ran up. And then when I took the tape off, I had my thumb right here, and I just kind of bent that thing around to where it tied into the top, and I held it here and touched that glue in there. And as soon as I did that, this piece right here in the corner separated. So this piece all glued straight. This piece kind of just stuck out. And I had a piece in a glue right there that held. Because like I said, I had this piece going up here, and I had just hold mine with my finger. And then when that separated, I was like, oh, geez, here we go. And I kind of was able to pull it down around. And when I did, it made this nice line here for me. And I held that in, put a little tiny piece of glue, just a real dry, in there, and pushed that down into place, and it held. And then it did the same thing on this side, and believe it or not, right there on that corner where it was the tightest to bend, it separated again. It just melted off. So I was holding it way up here, so that piece was glued right here where it came into the chrome, and it was glued down below it, but this piece kind of just hung out there, and I was able to bring it around and glue it in, and it worked out really, really well. Took me a little while. I bet you I got an hour doing all this trim work. But now, and I've had a whole bunch of people asking me, that's why I'm going into this, and really doing the time on here and not spending as much time on the engines and the suspension and stuff, because I want to show everybody how I do my vinyl roofs. I'm going to use my painter's tape. And this stuff, if you look, isn't thick enough to go all the way to the back. This should actually be a one-piece vinyl. But I only have the 2.5 or 2-inch or whatever this is, frog tape. So what I'm going to do, and it's fine because I still want to show everybody how I do a vinyl roof. What I'm going to do with this is I'll take a piece and I'll just do this real quick, but this isn't going to stay. And I'll put a piece right here. And I'll get it in there where it's supposed to be. I'll cut it off. And I'm going to cut it off on the inside of this trim. Right here. Wow, that's not even close to being center. But it's okay because, like I said, this isn't the one I'm going to use. I will get this laid out to where it's center lined. And we'll get it in there. Eyeball's eyeball. We'll get it down. And that'll be that center trim. Now, if I was doing this on the whole roof, that would go all the way up to the top, just like this. And I would start with this centerpiece. And I would get it all laid in there, all cut, nice and firm on the edges. I'm not pressing this down because I don't want to peel this paint off. Nice and firm on these edges and make sure that they're perfect. And then I'll take another piece of tape and I'll run it down and around, and I'll work it down on that with just the slightest of overlap right here, where this will just barely overlap, like this. And when I push all that down, that overlap is going to be that seam. And it'll look just like it. Be nice and tight. I'll wrap this around. I'll trim on the inside of this trim. And what's cool about this car is, get this off of here. What's cool about this car is this trim is the color of the vinyl roof. So once I get everything on there, I'll paint the vinyl roof by brush. I'll paint it by hand. I have more than enough of this. This is the same color as this is going to be. I have more than enough of it on hand. I'll paint that on there. I'll paint this trim line. This all stays chrome around the back. But this crossover and underneath piece is the same color as the vinyl roof. So that's where I am today. I don't want to tape this down hard yet because I just want to let this air out one more night. So I'll be down here either tomorrow or Monday after work to do that. And when I do, I will film good, bad, or indifferent. It's going to be filmed so that you can see how I do what I'm doing. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, you'll see that too, because, you know, I want to show everybody the truth, you know, how I'm doing my stuff. But with that, I'm going to cut you loose on this video. Like every video, I want to thank Gallery because, geez, oh, Pete, you saw the paint job, and that was all because of their airbrushes. And in August, they're coming out with something cool that I'm not going to tell you because I wasn't given permission to. I didn't even ask yet. But if you're getting anything from Gallery, don't forget to use Grandpa Mark in the coupon code. You'll get 10% off. I want to thank our veterans, first responders, and active duty people. I salute each and every one of you, and thank you for putting it out on the line every day for us. I want to say hey to Jason, Mike, and Bruce from Automotive Model Car Livecast. They're on every other Thursday night now in the summer. I'm hoping they'll be back every Thursday night in the winter because I really like what they do. And I want to remind everybody that we are doing our first annual breast cancer awareness 24-hour group build, October 11th, 2025, starting at 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern Time. That'll run in conjunction with Bob's Model Works Chris Cortell Annual Cancer Awareness Group Build, which runs from October 1st to October 31st. A link is in the description for that one, so check that out too and sign up for his. Also in the description is a link to the GoFundMe page I set up for the American Cancer Society. We're going to take donations the whole time we're building, and you can start now if you want. But all the proceeds are going to the American Cancer Society, so any help you can give would be greatly appreciated. And with that, I will let y'all go. Y'all have a great day and a better tomorrow, and thank you very much for watching.